Hello again everyone, Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about the ruler of the 12th house posited in the first house in a natal horoscope. Well, the first thing is, as most of you know, the 12th house is connected with solitude, seclusion, restrictions, limitations, secrets. We look at well, it's also hospitals, it rules prisons as well. Perhaps even the side that's kind of, I guess you could say, philanthropic, is connected, is associated with Pisces. It's connected with self-undoing as well. We look at the first house, and that's the appearance, the outward disposition, personality, the early childhood, which I believe we could say this is also the beginning of life for the person, and just our outlook in general. We look at the disposition. I think one of the obvious things people look at, they'll think, okay, well, this is the 12th house is the house of restrictions and limitations, and the first house, though the first is not the sixth in terms of health, the first is the physical body, and it can be indicative of the constitution of the person to some degree. This could indicate where the endurance and vitality might have some kind of restriction or limitation. The person may have some, especially if the planet is predominantly negative, the ruling planet of the 12th has predominantly negative aspects. It can indicate some limitations or restrictions on the health. It's possible that their own restrictions or limitations might affect their outlook on life. Perhaps this can indicate some kind of, it might turn into somewhat of a pessimistic outlook to some degree. Or on the other side of the coin, if their restrictions and limitations, if they're worked on, then it might actually change their outlook and force them to look at the positive elements, and then make their outlook much better, of course. So it can impact it one way or another. Perhaps the limitations, restrictions might affect the person's appearance to some degree. Perhaps if this person has limited income, this person might not always dress super meticulously, or might not be able to always afford what he or she wants to wear. It might affect the countenance, or the as far as the look, as far as expression, face. It might make the person a little bit more gloomy. Perhaps this can be a position where perhaps these some kind of limitation affected their outlook on life early, something in the early part of their life, their childhood. Also, I mean, this is connected, the 12th house is connected with hospitals as well. And there might be some experience that this person had in the hospital, not necessarily as a patient. Perhaps this person works or had worked with in hospitals, and it might affect their outlook on life, making he or she more compassionate, for example, more philanthropic, more caring. We look at this, and I think a 12th house is connected with Pisces, so it's possible that people can see maybe some kind of nebulous side to this person, or some chaos or confusion, ambivalence might come out through their projection of their self, of their demeanor. Look at this placement as well, and the 12th house is connected with prisons. Now, this could be something where the prison doesn't necessarily mean the person is incarcerated or was, but in an instant, if this person was incarcerated, that obviously can affect impact their outlook on life very strongly, their personality. Perhaps this person, say if he or she worked as like a prison guard, or just worked in the prison system as an employee, seeing interaction with the inmates might affect their outlook, might affect their personality to some degree. I'll look at this placement as well, and the 12th house is connected with, I guess you could say, not just the restrictions limitations, but their solitude and seclusion. This person's need for privacy and introversion may come out very strongly, and it might be one of the first impressions that people get of this person is this person's perhaps their need for solitude and privacy. Perhaps there's some need to be compassionate, philanthropic, be involved with things connected with hospitals, caring, healing might come out through this person, injected in their personality. There may be an insightful nature, an intuitive side, which really is projected to others through their outlook, through a first impression that they may give to other people. There may be something where that compassionate side comes out, their compassion for others may come out, be injected into their personality. This is just something where I'm not saying this is necessarily all gloom and doom, but because you have to remember that the 12th house is the house of restrictions, so it can be something where you may see some negatives with this coming out through the first house in their appearance and person. But don't forget the 12th house is connected with idealism, is connected with compassion, and it also has, I believe, hidden qualities, some hidden strengths perhaps of this person. And these things can all be injected into the personality as well, I believe. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for the ruler of the 12th house posited in the first house in a natal horoscope. Stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about the ruler of the 12th house in the second house in a natal chart. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel, but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis on a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because a person astrologically is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.